Welcome to Sports Memo's MLB Full Count Show. I'm your host for today, Ronald Cabang, also known as UCapper at U_Capper on Twitter. Before we bring out the panel for today, just want to make sure you guys are aware of some of what's going on SportsMemo.com today. Today is Monday. You know what that means. It's $9 Monday over at SportsMemo.com. All picks and packages are available for just $9. Tomorrow is $2 Tuesday as well, so get ready for that. We got the amazing Joe D'Amico, Kevin Thomas, and R&R totals as a $2 Tuesday handicappers this week. And there's always great promos going on at sportsmemo.com. This one is no exception. Pitch 99 is a promo code to get the rest of the MLB season from your favorite MLB capper for only $99. Those are your promos for sportsmemo.com this week. And so now it's time to bring out our sports betting professionals onto the panel today. We got Dan Kaiser in the building, and we got my buddy Jesse Schule. We're going to be talking about two games that start tomorrow morning for me, since I'm on the West Coast, and the afternoon for you out on the East Coast, and whatever time it is over where you're at, Jesse. I don't know what time it is over there. It's kind of crazy, right? You're in Thailand, right?
It'll be the middle of the night for me.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be awake for these games, but I know you got a great breakdown for them coming up. First of all, let's talk to Dan. How was everything going with you? How was your weekend of sports betting?
It's pretty good. I had a good NFL, 3-1 in the NFL. I've been 2-0 in baseball on Saturday. I'm 4-2 so far during the playoffs. So yeah, things are going well.
That's great to hear, Jesse. I think you brought out Mr. Perfect yesterday, right? How did the rest of the weekend go?
It's always nice to put on the yellow jumpsuit, even though it's 3 sizes too small for me.
I was hoping to see it today.
It was on the First Family show.
Oh, was it? I missed it. But yeah, man, love to see everybody winning. I also had a 3-in-1 day yesterday in the NFL, so things are going well there. Man, with that said, let's get into the MLB slate. The first game tomorrow, game 1 of the Phillies Braves series. This goes off at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. These two teams are very familiar with each other. They faced each other 19 times this season. Braves coming out with 11 wins to 8 losses. Phillies came out with the upset over the Cardinals to get here. The Braves, they kind of came from behind towards the end of the season, swept the Mets in the second to last series of the season to put themselves in position to win the NL East. Tomorrow's going to be Ranger Suarez versus Max Fried, I believe, a lefty versus lefty matchup. Fried and Suarez matched up 3 times this season. Suarez came out on top 2 out of the 3 games. Dan, let's start with you. Can Suarez do it again, or can Fried even up the matchup between these two starters? How do you see this series going? How do you see this game 1, and how do you see the series going after game 1?
Yeah, I think this is a good matchup here for the Braves. Because of the Philadelphia playing the wild card game, they used their 2 best pitchers right off the bat. So I think that not that the Braves catch a break here, because like they need to catch breaks, but I think it sets up nice for them. As you said, Suarez, he was decent this year. He's 10-7, 3.65 ERA. But Fried had an outstanding year, 14-7, 2.48 ERA. And I look at this game, Suarez's last outing, he gave up 7 hits, 6 runs in 3 innings. He's had his spots where he's looked really good, and then he's had his spots where he hasn't looked very good. I just look at this game basically just at the plate. I just think the Braves are a lot better offensively, and they do have the better pitcher on the mound in this one. So I like the Braves in the first game, and I'd probably at the minus 200 at the big number. I'd probably play them on the run line. You take a little, get a little bit of value on that. And for the series, I just like the Braves in this. I think their pitching, both starting and relieving, is just too much for the Phillies. The Phillies don't play good on the road, and I don't trust that bullpen as far as I can throw them, and I can't throw them very far.
All right, so Dan, you're on the run line here for game one and looking towards the Braves to take that series there. Jesse, what are your thoughts on game one and the series matchup?
Well, before I get started with my analysis on this series and the pitching matchups, I just want to say how much I respect my buddy Dan, and
But
he's
I'm wrong.
doing great right now. I've seen him at the top of the leaderboards. He's really kicking butt and taking names. But I'm going to have to agree to disagree with Dan here on this series. One thing that stood out to me when I looked at it is the top two starters for the Braves combined 9 starts against the Phillies. Of course, these teams play each other a lot during the regular season. How many wins do those top two pitchers, Fried and Martin, have against the Phillies? 0. Fried is 0-1 with a 3.13 ERA and 4 starts. So the ERA indicates he's pitched reasonably well, but not dominant, not good enough to win. Morton, on the other hand, 0-1, 5.47 ERA and 5 starts. That's a little concerning. That's not great numbers there. Strider owns the Phillies, just dominated them this season, but he has been bothered by some injuries. We're not clear yet if he's even going to pitch in this series. And Wright has good numbers against the Phillies, but those top 2 pitchers that are probably going in games 1 and 2, a little bit concerning there. And the price at minus 200, I don't think I could back the Braves at that price with a pitcher that's faced this team 4 times and hasn't pulled out a victory. I might look at the over, though. Dan did mention that Suarez struggled in his last start, and he's, like Dan said, he's not the most consistent guy out there. Of course, we don't have to worry about the weather in Atlanta either. It's not, at this time of year in October, you get games in Seattle and New York and some of these other places. Of course, some of them are indoor, but outdoor venues in October can be a little bit concerning with the weather. We won't have to worry about that in Atlanta. So yeah, the total of 7, I'd lean toward the over.
All right, so Jesse's worried about how Fried does against Phillies, and is looking towards the offense going off here, looking towards the over here in game one. So I know you talked about game one there, Jesse. What do you think about the full series as a whole? Do you think that those starting pitchers struggling against the Phillies kind of goes through the whole lineup there, and Philly kind of take the first 2, have a chance to take the first 2 games, or what is your overall outlook of the series?
Well, like I said, I mean, at this price, there's going to be a big price, so I would have to lean toward the dog. I think whether or not Strider pitches is going to make a big difference to Atlanta. Certainly, if you're going based on the season stats, who pitched well against the Phillies, they really want Strider in there. But I haven't seen anything definite on that yet. It'll be interesting to see if and when he goes.
All right, so Dan and Jesse looking opposite ways there for that first game that we're talking about, first series, Braves and Phillies there. So now it's on to game 2, series number 2, game number 1 of that series, Mariners Astros. This goes at 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 Eastern. Mariners, they're the big underdogs in this one, but you can't count them out. They upset the Blue Jays to get here, including that comeback from 8-1. From the 6th inning to close out that wild card series. I mean, these 2 teams faced each other 19 times as well. Astros took the regular season series 12-7. Verlander is going to get the start there versus Gilbert. Verlander is 5-1 straight up against the Mariners this season. Gilbert and the Mariners are 2-2 when he starts against the Astros. I mean, these 2 guys are studs for their teams, and the Astros, the last time they faced each other, Gilbert and Verlander, once this season, Astros won that game 3-1. Jesse, let's start with you on this one. Is Verlander going to continue to dominate the Mariners like he did during the regular season, or are the underdogs going to come out with another upset? Talk about game 1 and also your series outlook for this series.
Well, we can say for certain that there's not a lot of money been made fading Justin Verlander this year. So really, I got nothing to say to indicate that Verlander is going to do anything but come out and be dominant. That said, again, it's a huge price. And Logan Gilbert has been phenomenal himself. And if you look at his stats, he's picked up more wins on the road than he has at home. 8-1 with a 3.16 ERA on the road this season. His numbers against Houston 2-1 with a 2.52 ERA in 4 starts. I think he's capable enough of turning this into a pitcher's duel and keeping this game close. So yeah, I think Seattle definitely has a puncher's chance in this game. Also, there's a feel-good story with Seattle making the playoffs for the first time in a long time. They have a lot of momentum, one of the hottest teams in baseball in the second half. And let's look at how Seattle's played on the road compared to how Houston has played at home. In their last 52 games on the road, the Mariners have won 35 of those games. The Astros, on the other hand, in their last 53 home games, they've won 38 of those games. So, I mean, that's pretty tight there. I mean, so can the Mariners win this game? And given the price, would you want to bet against them at that price? I don't think so. I think the Mariners do have a chance to make this a competitive series. Of course, Houston's the better team. Seattle's going to have to be quite fortunate to win any of these games, but they certainly have a chance. And given the price, I wouldn't be taking the Astros.
Yeah, I'd like to agree with you there. I mean, I'm from Seattle, so there's a little bit of a homer piece to that, but I do think that Seattle can put up a good fight here against the Astros. Dan, what are your thoughts on game 1 between Verlander and Gilbert here and the series as a whole?
Yeah, Jesse, he's been killing it. I've been watching him. He's been killing it in the NFL and college since the postseason started. So good job there. But I guess it's not because, but he disagreed with me on the first game. I guess I got to disagree with him on this one, to be honest. Yeah, Gilbert has pitched well against Houston this season, as Jesse said. But if you look back to last season, he was just 2-2 with a 4.15 ERA against Houston. And yeah, Jesse had a nice stat there on Seattle on the road, but in the last 10 games in Houston, they're just 3-7. So they may be able to win on the road, but they struggle to win in Houston. And then when it comes down to it, this is just I look at these two pitchers. One hasn't pitched in the playoffs, and then you've got Verlander. I think probably any pitcher in their late 30s now is probably going to be looking to get Tommy John surgery the way Verlander's looked this year. I mean, this year he's got a 1.75 ERA, 0.83 WHIP, he's 18-4 record. Against the Mariners this season, he's 2.34 ERA, 5-1 record, and he's 21-10 with a 3.09 ERA in 37 career meetings with Seattle. And if you just want to look at his playoff numbers, he's 3.4 ERA and a 1.07 WHIP in his postseason career. And as good as Gilbert's pitch, I just don't think he's going to be able to handle this Houston offense. I mean, they can score a ton of runs. And to look at this Houston team, it's just not their starting pitching; it's their relief pitching also. Their staff is 2.9 ERA, which is second in the major leagues. So I just like to be honest. I know it's a high price, and again, I'd probably play this game on the run line. But for the series, Houston's just too dominant, and they'll take the Mariners in the series. The Mariners may get one game out of it, but I just think this series has got the Astros written all over it.
Yeah, it's going to be surprising to see. I don't know who the Mariners are going to throw out there for game 2, but I know you mentioned in the first series, Dan, about Philly using their top 2 pitchers in their wild card series, but the Mariners, they didn't really do that. They had their top pitcher go 1. But I don't really think Robbie Ray is their number 2 pitcher, and he started their second game. I think Logan Gilbert could be that second guy there. So it's not like there's a big drop-off here. And then if they go game 2, we're coming back with Castillo maybe. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. But then now you're talking about Mariners number 1 going against the Astros number 2. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do the rotation there. I'm really surprised at how they worked that game too with the Mariners bringing in Robbie Ray, because I didn't like that move at all, but it ended up working out because we were able to come back in the second part of that game. But this kind of puts us in good position to have Logan Gilbert start. I see you smiling over this. I know you got a little bit to say to come back, but what do you got?
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's Houston's number 2. But if Verlander didn't have the year he had, you'd be talking that Houston's second best pitcher as possible Cy Young candidate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a huge drop off. Of course, it's a drop off. It's not a huge drop off.
Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely get it. I just think, to me, in my opinion, I think the price is a lot higher than it should be. Similar to what Jesse said about the pricing on the series and this game as a whole. But yeah, it's interesting to see how this goes. Like Jesse said, there's a really big story with the Mariners here, and also, like I said too, I'm a bit of a homer now with the MLB playoffs here and the Mariners, not being there for such a long time. But yeah, definitely can't wait to see the outcome of that series. With that said, those were the 2 series that we wanted to talk about today. Now it's on to the best bets for the game, for the show. Dan, let's start with you. What's your best bet for today's show? And also, what do you got going on the premium side at sportsmemo.com?
Yeah, over on the premium side right now, obviously it's a light day today, so I just got one play up on the Monday night game on the total. I start out good in hockey. I won the first 2 plays over the weekend in hockey, so I'll have some hockey up going forward in the next couple of days, and just breaking down some baseball and getting ready for the weekend of football, and NBA's right around the corner. So it just keeps getting busier and busier. For my best bet, last Friday I put out a best bet on the Padres, which won, and I'm looking, and I was talking about back on Friday in the playoffs. It usually comes down to pitching and power. So my best bet is on the Cleveland Yankees series. If I looking at this game, you look at the Indians. They've got the pitching. I think their pitching is superior than the Yankees, especially when it comes to bullpen pitching. I'm not even sure who the Yankees have in the bullpen right now. That's worth talking about. But when it comes to power, obviously that goes on onto the Yankees side. But I'm looking at this series a little bit different. My bet is I'm taking the Indians in this series at +2 or plus. I can't remember what it is right now, but I'm taking. But my reason is I don't like this Yankees lineup. If Stanton isn't producing, you look at the bottom. You look at this bottom of this lineup. The 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th hitters just don't hit for the Yankees. And you look at this Cleveland team, especially in the last series. The bottom of the order just raked and always on base and set up the top of the lineup for the ability to score runs. I just think Cleveland's pitching will keep this one close, and I just like the way the Indians are playing right now, and I like their bats to be able to generate runs, especially if the Yankees don't hit a lot of home runs in this one.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to see the Guardians in the position they are in with the roster that they have. They have a lot of young guys there that came up through the system and put them here in the playoffs, surprisingly. So that's a good look there. Jesse, what are your thoughts? What is your best bet for the show? And talk about what you got going on the premium side as well.
All right. Well, coming off that big 3-0 sweep on Sunday with my NFL picks, 3 underdogs, 2 of them won outright. The Bengals nearly made it a clean sweep of underdogs winning outright. I've already got 3 picks up for next week. And of course, college football is going even better than the NFL. It's been a rather, I couldn't ask for anything more for my start to the football season. But, baseball playoffs is something that we shouldn't ignore. And I look forward to the playoffs as well. And my best bet, I'm going to look at that game 1 in the Houston-Seattle series. And as I mentioned, I like Logan Gilbert as the dog on the road, given his 8-1 record on the road, given his winning record against Houston. At the end of the day, I want to take the Mariners on the run line here in a game with a total of 6.5. This is expected to be a pitcher's duel. I'm not expecting the Mariners to get really anything off of Verlander, but if they can get his pitch count up high enough to knock him out after 7 innings or something like that, if Gilbert can hold the fort, this could easily be a game that's decided in the later innings by 1 run. And certainly the dogs have been barking in the Major League Baseball playoffs so far. And at this price, I think getting the runs is a good plan.
Yeah, I like that look a lot, actually, Jesse. I mean, even from a total perspective, just Logan Gilbert has done a good job limiting the Astros during his time on the mound when he faces them. So to me, I think the under is another good look on that game tomorrow. 3 of the 4 games that Gilbert has faced the Astros has gone under 6.5, which is the total for tomorrow's game. So I like that look a lot. For me, I don't really have a best bet to share with you guys today, but I do have some stuff going on the premium side for my clients there. I have the Monday Night Football best bet that's ready to go. It is the same. I use the same system that backed the Jets yesterday and the Texans yesterday as well. Both of those won, so I'm hoping that system goes 3-0 this week in football overall on a nice 6-1 run the last couple of weeks. So seeing the NFL board pretty well right now, being selective and doing that. And like Dan said, NBA is right around the corner. SportsMemo number 1 all-time NBA capper as far as profit goes. The last 2 years, and SportsMemo hooked up a nice promo. You bang 200 to get my NBA season through the NBA Finals for just over $2 a day. That's my promo that's going on over at SportsMemo. And so I think to me, between Dan, Jesse, and myself, we kind of cover a lot of sports that are going to be popping off in the next month or so, or the next couple of weeks. So a lot of the things going on at sportsmemo.com with all the handicappers that cap multiple sports, I think all access packages are really the way to go in the way to benefit from all the handicappers going on their hot streaks and going into their top sports. So that's what's going on over at sportsmemo.com. With that said, that is the end of the show, guys. For Jesse, Dan, and myself, good luck with all your action today and for the rest of the week. Take care.